October 19, 2014, from Sports Authority Field at Mile High in Denver, Colorado. It was the San Francisco 49ers at the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football in prime time. The Denver Broncos won the toss and they elected to defer, so the Niners would get the ball first, and they went 3 and out on their first possession. So now the Broncos took over on their own 43, and they made short work of the field. They went 57 yards in 9 plays. They ate up 5 minutes of clock, though, and Peyton Manning threw a touchdown pass to Emmanuel Sanders, a 3-yard touchdown pass to make it 7-0, and that is Emmanuel Sanders' first touchdown as a Bronco. So now it was 7-0 Broncos over the Niners. The Niners now had the ball on their own 20 with about 8.5 minutes left in the first. And they actually would end up in field goal range. And Phil Dawson came out to attempt a 51-yard field goal, and it was no good. So it remains 7-0 Broncos over the Niners. And the Broncos would now take over on the 41 with about 4 minutes left in the first. And they would end up going 59 yards in about a minute and a half in just 3 plays, capped off by a 39-yard touchdown pass from Peyton Manning to Wes Welker, as it was now 14-0 Broncos over the 49ers, as Peyton Manning now tied Brett Favre's record on the all-time passing quarterback touchdown list. So Peyton Manning now just threw 508 touchdown passes in his career. And so now the Niners took over on the 20. They would go 3 and out, and the Broncos now got the ball on their own 29 with about 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and they would bring the first quarter to a close on their own 29. So after one, it was 14-0 Denver over San Francisco. So now the Broncos started off things in the second quarter, and they would actually punt the ball. And so they ended up punting the ball 3 plays into the quarter, and San Francisco would now take over with about 14 minutes left before halftime. They had it on their own 13, but then Kaepernick was sacked by Von Miller on first down. But then on 2nd and 18, Kaepernick hit Johnson for a 31-yard pass as they picked up the first down and got to the 36. Then, after picking up another first down off a defensive holding, Kaepernick hit Lloyd for a 12-yard pass as they got into Denver territory. They would actually get all the way down into the red zone, and actually it was 3rd and 8 from the 23, and they picked up an 18-yard pass from Kaepernick to Bolden. So now it was 1st and goal on the 5. They would lose a yard, and they wouldn't be able to get into the end zone. And now Phil Dawson would come out to attempt his second field goal of the game. This one was good from 22 yards out, and it was now 14-3 Denver over San Francisco. So now the Broncos took over with about 7.5 minutes left before halftime. They had it on their own 20. And on 3rd and 7 from the 23, Peyton Manning would hit Sanders for a 20-yard pass, and an unnecessary roughness penalty was called against the Niners. So now it was first down on the 42 of San Francisco, and they handed off to Hillman. And then a couple passes went to Julius Thomas, then Demaryius Thomas. And next thing you know, it's first down on the 17 of San Francisco, and Hillman ran for no gain. And then, after a pass interference call against the Niners, made it 1st and goal on the San Francisco 1-yard line. Then an incomplete pass made it 2nd and goal from the 1, and Peyton Manning was sacked for a 7-yard loss, as he kind of tripped over one of his players' foots, and so then he was sacked. As he was trying to hand off the ball, you don't know if it was play action or if it was a handoff, but either way, he just kept the ball and went to the ground. So now it was 3rd and goal from the 8. Peyton Manning dropped back to pass, and who else would it be but Demaryius Thomas, as Peyton Manning breaks Brett Favre's all-time quarterback touchdown passing record, as he throws the touchdown to Demaryius, an 8-yard touchdown pass, and that made it 28-3 Denver over San Francisco. And everybody now stopped, and they paused and took a moment to bask in the record. 509 total touchdowns for Peyton Manning in his career. So they had a horse march around the field and everything, and even the Niners seemed to be in awe of Peyton Manning. So now the Niners would take over with the ball on their own 20 with about 3 minutes left before halftime. They picked up a 16-yard pass on first down to make it a first down on the 36, but then Kaepernick was sacked by Demaryius Ware, and now it was 2nd and 19 from the 27, and a false start then made it 2nd and 24 from the 22. They then picked up 7 yards. Kaepernick ran for 7, and so now it was 3rd and 17 from the 29, and then Kaepernick hit Brandon Lloyd for a 37-yard pass to make it a first down in Denver territory on the Denver 34. Kaepernick then hit Bolden for a 5-yard pass, and then Kaepernick hit Johnson for a 25-yard pass, and it was now 1st and goal on the 4-yard line, and Kaepernick hit Johnson, this time for a 4-yard touchdown pass, and it was now 21-10, Denver over San Fran. So the Niners got into the end zone for the first time in this game just before halftime. Now the Broncos took a knee, and this game went to intermission. So at halftime, the score was Denver 21, San Francisco 10. The Broncos would start things off in the second half, and they would go 3 and out. And so now the Niners took over on their own 17, and then 3 plays later on 3rd and 3 from the 24, Colin Kaepernick dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Aqib Talib. All of the Broncos were up on the line, and then Aqib Talib snuck out, and he picked off the pass. And so now the Broncos would take over, and on their first play from the San Francisco 40, Peyton Manning dropped back to pass, and he hit Demaryius Thomas for the 40-yard touchdown pass, as he added one for good measure to the record, as he'll add plenty more to that record as the season goes on. But right now it was 28-10 Broncos over the Niners. The Niners then went 3 and out and punted the ball back to the Broncos. So now the Broncos had the ball on their own 14 with still 10 minutes left in the third, and then on 2nd and 10 from the 37, after having picked up a 40, actually on first down on the 14, Peyton Manning hit Demaryius Thomas for a 49-yard pass that made it first down on the San Francisco 37. Then on 2nd and 10 from the 37, Hillman ran for 37 yards in the touchdown as he made some amazing moves through traffic, and it was now 35-10 Broncos over the Niners. The Niners would then go 3 and out, and they punted the ball back to the Broncos once again. So now with 9 minutes still left in the third, Denver took over on the 27, a little less than 9 minutes, and they moved the ball into San Francisco territory and into the red zone. And then from just a yard out, Hillman punched it in, and he got his second rushing touchdown of the second half, and the score was now 42-10, Broncos over the Niners. The Niners now had the ball with about a minute and a half left in the third, and they would bring the third quarter to a close as they picked up a first down on the final play of the third quarter. But after 3, the score was 42-10, Denver over San Francisco. So now the San Francisco 49ers started things off in the fourth quarter, but 4 plays later, they would punt the ball back to the Broncos. The Broncos would then go 3 and out, as Peyton Manning wasn't even in the game at this point. It was so out of hand, as the Broncos were up by 32 points. The Niners would then get the ball with about 11 minutes left in the game. They had it on their own 13. They got all the way to the Denver 14, but then they turned the ball over on downs, and they didn't even get a field goal out of the drive. So now, but they ate up a lot of clock, about 7 minutes, and now Denver had the ball with about 4 minutes left in the game. They went 3 and out. They punted it. They had a 32-point lead. Now the Niners took over at the Denver 45. And they actually managed to get down into the red zone on the edge of it. It was 2nd and 10 from the Denver 20. And now Blaine Gabbert had come in for Colin Kaepernick, and he threw a 20-yard touchdown pass to Ellington, and it was now 42-17, as this game is just more than over at this point. Denver took 2 knees. It was Osweiler now who took the knees, as Peyton hadn't played in the whole quarter. And the final score was Denver 42, San Francisco 17, as the Broncos are now 5-1 on the season, 4-0 at home, and the Niners are 4-3 on the season as they fall to 500 on the road, as they're 2-2 on the road. And so in this game, Peyton Manning was 22 for 26 with 318 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. He needed 2 to tie the record, 3 to pass the record, and he got 4. The leading rusher in this game was Hillman with 74 rushing yards off of 14 carries and 2 touchdowns, and the leading receiver was Demaryius Thomas with 171 receiving yards and 8 receptions and 2 touchdowns. Colin Kaepernick was 24 for 39 with 263 passing yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He also rushed for 18 yards off of 3 carries. Frank Gore had 20 yards off of 9 carries. And on defense, both teams had a tackler who had 8 tackles. That was the most in this game. Marshall for the Broncos, Borland for the Niners. The Niners had 2 sacks. 1 was for Borland, 1 was for Lynch. And the Broncos had 6 sacks. They sacked Colin Kaepernick 6 times. DeMarcus Ware had 3 of those sacks. Von Miller had 2 of those sacks. And Jackson had 1. And Aqib Talib had the game's only interception. So the Broncos destroy the Niners. They blow them out on prime time. Final score, Denver 42, San Francisco 17.